Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Having healed Declan's wounds and augmented their abilities, Declan and Honour System began their hunt for Geffcinda Bee-Zos. After a tense meeting with Carmine Falstaff where they allied with his corporate goons, they also teamed up with the Twists to stop Amazoon. Can they save the future before things get even worse? Find out next on Doms and Dragons 2099.
Honour System, you've just been pummeled by rounds of ammo from Blackhawk, the ancient but mighty Dark Knight children's action figure robot that has been souped up by Lady Ethereum, but from the exploding nanite arm to the machine gun fist, this thing is taking a beating from you, but is also laying down a bunch of damage as well. Declan, You've noticed Lady Ethereum is leaning forward. It seems extraordinarily agitated. As you put it, you'd be willing to cheat to make your robot win. What must she be willing to do to make hers win? Things are getting kind of dire in the ring. The crowd is screaming for blood, and the MFT, the Mage Fungible Token contract auction is coming up quickly. It is the top of the round, which means Honour System, aka strong winner. It is your go.
Yeah, that last attack absolutely shredded Honour System. If my math was correct, that was 65 points of damage. He is in a horrible way. He drops to one knee and he's kind of just putting some weight on his katana as he sticks it into the ground. And you hear in your ear Declan, Honour System's voice come through. And again, since he had that strange experience with the AI and got his new body, you've noticed that he sounds more human from time to time. He doesn't understand what you're talking about because he's always just sounded like himself as far as he's concerned. But a very human sounding voice comes through where there's even like gasping for air inexplicably. Honour System, you just hear, Declan, if this doesn't work, I will need assistance. And for my turn, I would like to use my action to drop a smoke grenade in the ring.
Amazing. So you reach down, you grab the grenade, you drop it. What happens?
The smoke fills like a 20-foot space, and you are considered to basically have full cover if you're being sighted by something that is more than 5 feet away from you.
Great.
I'm going to use my bonus action for Second Wind. So I just get to roll a d10 and add my Enforcer level for some HP back. That's a 6 plus 10, so 16 HP back. Oof. It's something. And unfortunately, that's my turn. But basically, I'm looking to take cover in the smoke and force this guy to come in and find me.
Okay, that's great.
So you're also moving away, right?
Yes, I am not remaining in the same spot where I dropped the smoke grenade. I'm moving away.
Okay, excellent. So with a blast of smoke, you disappear, and the Blackhawk unit, just like in kind of a Henry Cavill reloading his arms way, cranks his arm down, ejecting a cartridge, and then jams it forward, and a new cartridge kind of drops in. And it slowly, in very much like a T-800 Terminator, like without flesh kind of way from the opening scenes where they couldn't really move too much, just scans on a hip pivot through the smoke, but not being able to see you and also not being able to open fire wantonly without killing the crowd. It lowers the assault weapon. The arm forms into a like a double-headed axe. But like off the end of its arm, in like, again, cheap action figure way. And it just steps forward, sweet, like slashing left and right blindly through the smoke. A hush falls over the crowd. And MCC just yells, "Oh, fight in the smoke, hard to see, but very exciting, right?" And he's like trying to hype people up, but he's not a great hype man. So his little arms are up, and no one seems to be paying him any mind. Declan, you see Lady Ethereum.
I don't know if this would help, but his new augment means Declan can actually zoom his one eye to 2 times magnification.
Are you using that on the smoke or on Lady Ethereum?
I think he's going to use it on Lady Ethereum because he's hoping what Honour System is doing is working.
Sorry, I'm just like, ooh, the smoke is closer.
I assumed he had optics that let him see through it, but I like your version more.
No, honestly, he does.
Enhance.
He can. It's just to zoom in. So,
Oh, so pretty.
holy
The
fuck!
swirling.
It's like the smoke's inside my fucking helmet.
Look at those particle effects.
Yeah,
I must be running this on a damn good graphics card.
but I'm imagining he got a line to her that's not through the arena.
100%.
So he'll be watching her.
It's not close smoke.
Yeah.
So yes, you look past the close-up smoke. And Declan, how good are you reading lips?
I mean, my perception's pretty good. As long as she is speaking, because I got 3 languages out of my character build, so I was like English, and then I just made 2 up. Binaric code and military or mercenary code were the 3 that I had.
Well, so because we're in Faerun, I'm going to stick with common over English. But
that's fine.
Yes, she is speaking in common, and she seems to be leaning over to one of her aides and saying something very emphatically. Can you roll me? I'll give you perception at advantage because you're using your zoom in eye, not on the smoke.
Yes, that makes sense. That is a nat 20 plus 10 for a total of 30.
Shit.
It's so good, you even pick up her unexpected accent. She leans over very demurely and just says, "Well, pissing my cornflakes, move all of my money onto that there samurai robot. I want every single dollar I bet on Mr. Blackhawk over there on the slashy slicey man. You get that done for me, you hear?" But said like with Tilda Swinton level of like unmoving grace.
She has so much range. I love it.
She really does. I mean, like there aren't enough Oscars in the world for the Tilda Swindler. Yeah, you see the aide immediately jump, and like obviously this is completely illegal, but if you own the gambling den, you can kind of do whatever. So you realize she's not actually going to intercede; she just wants to win. So you watch this aide just fucking sprinting through.
I was going to say, where does the aide have to go to make that happen?
Has to get back to Betsy.
There's only one guy who can take the fucking bets, and he's the MC right now.
Yeah, and as he's running, he's just like waving because he's dressed in like full like French court like dandy gear. So he's got the ruffles, he's got like the white face paint, and he's like waving, desperately waving a handkerchief at MCC, who sees it and is doing that thing that I often do when like the baby's in the middle of exploding, but I'm trying to like finish an important narration thing, where he's kind of talking into the mic while his eyes are slowly being dragged away, and he's like trying not to look away, but also there's smoke in the arena, so there's nothing to announce right now, but the crowd is getting unruly, and he is really having a crisis. So let's see what he goes with. All right, so that's for MCC. And that's for the completely different character, Betsy. Betsy wins. He sees it. He realizes he'll be in trouble. He just says, me RB. And then he drops the mic and leaps off his stool. And he starts running through the crowd. Declan, you wanted to know, or should I say, Bryce Dallas Coward, you wanted to know how far the person's going to get back to the betting rack. Why?
Declan is having a moment of crisis, which is if he allows this to happen, he might be able to blackmail Lady Ethereum with this. But if he intercepts Betsy so the bet cannot be changed, then Declan has more money and theoretically better odds in the mage auction. So he would like to essentially intersect Betsy to prevent the bet from being changed. But he wants to do it subtly. So here's a cool power I have, Tom, because it's fucking mental, which is Declan is a dirty fighter. Meaning, if he can tag somebody with a melee attack, he can put them under a situation. So what he would like to do is just be running through the crowd himself, being like, my fucking robot's winning in the smoke and no one can see it. And he just wants to tag Betsy and just clip him on both ears with a big slap on the way by.
Oh.
And if he can, he'll blind him for a turn.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go just fucking cold cock a helpful team of goblins who want nothing more than to do a good job at
stealthily. No one knows.
God.
All right, so let's start with the stealth check.
Great.
Then we'll move on to the combat check.
The stealth check is a 21.
It's honestly, you running through the crowd screaming, "My robot's winning!" Like, you're one of 8 people doing this right now. This isn't new or unique. So you make it. You make it to Betsy, the betting goblin. Go ahead and make your melee attack.
All right. The melee attack is... Oh, fuck, I should have stabbed him. I miss. There's no way I hit, even if it was a finesse weapon. Oh, wait. No, it's not. It's just my hands. So fuck it. That's a 4.
You want to take a devil's bargain?
Well, what is it? I never say yes until I hear the deal, Tom. I've played with you before.
I will let you successfully do it, but Lady Ethereum will see. It doesn't change the fact that she'll still lose the bet, but she'll be aware that you interfered.
But otherwise, she fucks my bet, and I don't make... Okay, Tom, this is a gambling question, which is like a technical gambling question. Traditionally, how the horse races work, because I know horse races is, the odds on any race are actually decided solely by how much money is bet on each amount. Mm-hmm. So if she's the big heavy bettor on Black Hawk, that's why the odds are low for Honour System. So if she switched her bet, then the odds would change, and I'd make less money if Honour System won, right?
I'm taking this off Vegas boxing betting, where the odds were set.
Okay, so it doesn't
prior
matter
to the fight, so they won't change. Because I'm going with like prize fighter things where it's like, this is a nobody, this is a name person, so the odds are like bad that the new person will win. Because honestly, Blackhawk has probably won most of these, all of these, realistically. So you wouldn't lose the money on a horse race kind of way because she's bet big if you interfere with the bet. Also, she would have to admit that she was trying to change her bet to really... This is one of those, like, if you rob a thief, they can't really go to the cops and be like, yo, he stole all my stolen money. It just means you'll both, like, be, Game of Thrones each other behind fans, knowing that the other one fucked you over.
I think instead he will miss his attack, but it was a hidden way anyways. And then what he'd like to do is just point to Betsy and point to Lady Ethereum. Just give her a thumbs up. I know what's going on, and I'm going to allow this to happen. Okay.
She glowers at you, but then raises a small thumb. And so Betsy continues his sprint, leaps over, like, just dog's purposes off someone over the desk, lands behind it, and manages to put on the right betting cap just as the aide rushes up with his little handkerchief, who leans in and whispers, and Betsy immediately just starts like I don't know why I'm in such a Men in Black mood today, but like the mail guy in MIB2
Yes.
is just doing all the mail slots. He's just like moving all the tags around, and everyone, like, no one is really paying attention to it. You get the sense this has happened before. Like, she's there to win. It's her casino. But meanwhile, we cut back to the smoke. Honour System. The Black Hawk unit has moved in, swinging an axe wildly. So I'm going to take his attacks against you, but they're going to be at disadvantage because it can't see what it's doing. So First one is a 2.
Okay.
So plus stuff that's still not going to be good enough. Yep. Nope. So the third one would have been a crit. It will hit, but it's not the critical, which is a bummer for him, but good for you. So take a glancing axe blow, which is going to be 11 points of damage.
Okay.
Because I rolled very low on those d8s. Sweet. So good news for Honour System, who I know is hanging on by a thread.
Yep.
So as soon as it clips you, a heavily digitized voice just says, "Ah, yes, target found. Prepare to be eliminated, peasant."
Great. Because he's found me, I'm going to go in for my 3 attacks, extra attack plus bonus action attack. So that's 29 and 28 and 20 to hit. Dirty 20.
Yep, all those go through.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, Tyler, before we carry on with this, can you see through smoke?
No, but I'm assuming since he struck me, I know where he is because he's also big.
Fair enough.
Well, you had to be outside of 5 feet to be in cover, right?
Yeah.
I'm not so much worried about the cover as the just sort of standard D&D obscuring vision things, but I'll buy that argument. He tagged you with an axe. He's also like this. He's like the size of a house.
Yeah, I figured if we were in melee range, then we're.
Nope, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I can roll at disadvantage if you like.
No. I buy that argument. That works for me.
Okay. The first roll is 15 plus 7 for what's that? 22. 8 and 7 again. 15 plus 7 for another 22.
Jesus.
Double 8s for 16 plus 7, so a 23. And if he's still standing after these cuts, I'm going to start using, in conjunction with smoke cover, I'm going to use my sword mastery, which whenever you take the attack action with a bladed weapon, you can dash or disengage for free. So I'm just going to melt back into the smoke after coming in with the sword strikes, and I'm going to start to move around him if he's still standing.
Great. So you melt away into the smoke, and he staggers forward out of it. And the crowd gasps because two robots entered. One robot exits. Kumite! But as he steps out, his voice box just mutters up, "Pish, posh, 'tis but a flesh wound." And then he just does that full like samurai hack up thing where like his body slides apart as he steps forward, just like pieces slide, and he collapses into a fizzling heap. And there's just like a moment of stunned silence around the room. And then there's just a guy with like big techno goggles and is like tinkering with with ramp bot by the side of the arena. It just says, "Yeah, I mean, look, I told you all that robot was shit. It's a shit model from a shit year. Garbage." And immediately, like, the room explodes. Someone punches him in the back of the head.
Jesus.
Because, like, no one wants that guy. But yes, the old champion has been felled. To the surprise of all, the screens burst to life. And there's, like, additional applause because, holy shit, someone's using power. You don't know who cut this together or when. Realistically, it was probably Farso, but there's like a winner, Gagnon, and just like a picture of you that was clearly taken when you came in. So it's kind of like at a bad angle above you. Declan is partially cut out over your shoulder, like badly erased in paint.
You can see the photographer's camera like in my reflective like faceplate visor, just a limo tinted.
Yeah, it was clearly like the door cam. So it's just like grainy and shitty, but it's still you.
Yeah, you can see Fartso just pressing the click on the door cam because it's
there's like a
shitty
flash
camera mounted in the ceiling.
Yeah. But huge applause. The room goes nuts. That said, some people are fucking furious. And you see like Betzo trying to like climb through the people to get back to being MCC. As he's doing so, like, you know, room's exploding. You see him kind of like scrabbling at the crowd before getting pulled under and trampled a bit. You see him kind of like trying to get up, but people are like stomping over him. By this point, more people are flooding into the there are now armed guards in the betting booth, along with someone who looks like a legitimate accountant who is coming out and starting to like deal with the credits. Lady Ethereum is handed like one of those like rail thin little mic on top mics that she holds very daintily to her lips. And just says, "Well, kiss my grits, what a crazy match that was. I must say, in all my years running Lady Ethereum's Rock'em Sock'em Robo Combat, I have rarely seen such a spectacle of this wild nature. I am truly, truly impressed, and I hope you are too. And of course, some of us made a pretty penny off that little match now, didn't we? All glory to our mysterious, smoky Mr. Strong winner. Truly worthy of the name. Step forward, darling. You're in the smoke."
Yeah, Honour System emerges from the smoke, like limping and clearly with like a dislocated shoulder.
There we are. There he is, looking good as new. Well, I tell you what, darling, you can take any pieces you want off my poor dead little Mr. Black Hawk over there. Seems he wasn't as strongly built as the manual said. In any case, congratulations. Hopefully you're single. You hear that, folks? In any case, that's it for me for the evening. Please stay, enjoy, continue to bet. I hear the Ramp Warrior will be fighting again sometime soon. You can watch him flip another robot on its back like some kind of upside-down dung beetle nonsense. That said, if on the back of your ticket you've got a certain crystalline image of yours truly, then you know where to find me in our specialty lounge for drinks and nothing more. Definitely nothing more. And you can audibly hear guns cock from like around the room as security just makes clear that don't try and follow if you're not invited. And she says, "Well, that's it for me. Thank you very much for joining us here. And don't forget to invest as much as you can in crypto. It's the future, you hear? The future." And then she does a mic drop. It's like dropping a Q-tip. And then she just glides away within like a tingle of crystal through a curtain behind her. Meanwhile, Declan, because you were close to the betting stand anyway, you're one of the first people to get your winnings.
Perfect.
And as they slide you, like just a very elegant stack of like what would have been previously like, basically like like credit chips you would only really see in like a bank. Like it's the equivalent of gold bars. Like it's an absurdly large amount of money in a kind of archaic way. Slides you those. And on top is a card with a golden image of Lady Ethereum, clearly an invitation now that you have this amount of money to the MFT auction upstairs.
Well, thank you very much. I'll go see how my robot's doing. And I want to take my winnings and go down to the arena to meet my boy, Strong Winner.
Great.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Say, winner, you got anything you want to rip off of this big robot here? Because I'll tell you, that assault cannon's growing on me. I fucking like the nano thing. Also, how the fuck are you doing? You look like shit.
I am unwell. Honour System says, like, after a brief, like, diagnostic. He really did kind of leave it all out there on the mat. He's looking over the Black Hawk unit. What sort of pieces are left that can be taken and appropriated?
So the nanotech, unfortunately, is as dead as the robot. When his processor went down, it died with him. So his arm is just a pool next to like the what was it, the T3000 or whatever, the lady, the TX, like how she had like a metal interior. Yeah, the
she was called.
Yeah. Had like T1000 liquid metal, but like with a chassis underneath. So it's that kind of thing. There's like a thin skeletal hand, but the nanotech has sworn off. The assault rifle, Declan, is absolutely like you'd have to like build on a grip and some other things, but definitely something you could add to your arsenal. Always nice to have an alternative to Frederick, if and when the need arises. But honestly, Honour System, for you, there's not a whole lot on this robot that's useful. It's old, it's archaic, and honestly, most of the stuff on it would slow you down. It's also a classic tank versus like nimble guy thing. Like,
so that's fine. With this guy not, or with this machine not in any sort of state of activity, it's easy enough for Legion to just cut through the arm in like one slice, and Honour System kicks the assault rifle over to you from the ring, and hobbles over to you.
Is there anything on the big robot, Tom, that could be used for kind of spot repairs on Honour System? Like, are there any internal servos or anything that could be used?
Sure,
to
yeah,
kind of do a
you can
speed
like just
touch-up?
gather up like a fist of full of like spare parts that widgets. So many widgets for days. So yeah, you load up on like some replacement parts that at the very least you'll be able to trade at like a repair shop to get what you need for Honour System.
Cool. I have repair tools and the robotics skill. Could I try to give him a little boost just to like get his fucking shoulder working here?
Not if you want to make the MFT.
Yeah, if you were to gesture like you were about to start, Honour System would also like put a hand up and be like, we must continue the mission. I can continue the mission.
All right, then let's keep going. We got this thing to get us into the auction, and I have a whole shitload of the future equivalent of gold fucking bars, so it's going to be dope.
Amazing. So you make your way.
Do they look like black chips? Like, what do they look like, Tom? Just
they're basically the size of like a check. They're thick and kind of platinum plated. Honestly, not dissimilar from the Beskar.
Yeah,
bars
thank you.
from,
Perfect. That
Mandalorian.
gives me a nice, easy.
Yeah. So not like little credit chips, but like heavy,
Like gold-plated latinum, but thinner.
Yes. Yeah. Just there to prove that you have wealth beyond necessity. So yes, you're kind of ushered up. The guards look you up and down. You're obviously both heavily armed, but they just watch strong winner win. So there's sort of a very like heavily built human who just kind of looks you up and says, "Strong winner and Mr. BDC."
That'd be us, yes.
Excellent. Right this way. The auction is about to begin. Have a seat, grab yourselves a drink, and may the odds be ever in your favor. Ha! That's a thing we say around here. Good luck. So you make your way through kind of an industrial staircase, and literally as it curves around a corner, the stairs go from like shitty, like that metal grating that's meant to give you grips when you're like walking on like a job site or something, to like beautiful hand carved marble. Like immediately you're hit by perfumed air. It just like smells nicer. There's like wall sconces. There's all sorts of shit. As you make your way up into the upper floors, and you realize that the upper floor of the library was preserved, kind of in secret. Books line the shelves, kind of surrounding you. There's a fine carpet. There is, you can see a stage where a somewhat bedraggled, vaguely beaten up goblin is just sitting there, holding his head. And he's got a big grin on his face. Like, despite the fact that he's been absolutely pummeled, he is just staring with a look of euphoria ahead of him with his hands on his head. Lady Ethereum is kind of looking at him and like actually like talking to him in kind of like almost a familiar way. Like she's down on one knee, like actually like checking in with him, which is kind of odd to see. There are a bunch of fancy fuckers and high rollers up here. You recognize a lot of faces from the crowd. A couple of the people who were screaming "My robot is winning" are up, having one big man. New money loves losing it, so they are here to do so. And then you also see some unfamiliar faces. People who are clearly only here for the MFT option. Behind the stage, in kind of a cordoned off area with that's heavily guarded, are a number of mages, and they are dressed up like they're extras in fucking Disney World. They are wearing long robes, pointed hats. They've got like some of them have fake beards. It really does feel like a costume show of what mages can be. Like there's a Gandalf looking motherfucker. There's just like all sorts of very specific wizardly characters standing by, and with each of them a manager. In my head, they're all basically Paul Heyman from the WWE, like just kind of a squat guy who's bald but still manages a ponytail, has eyes that practically have dollar signs imprinted in them. They're all wearing incredibly fine suits, cut to the last major fashion, like height of kind of expensive luxury fashion at the end of the conglomerate's rule. So they reek of money, and all of them are like, talking into their neural links. Most of them have working quantum tablets, which is something kind of unexpected. It adds to the wealth. And they've got screens back there. They're watching like the news, what broadcast news exists. You haven't seen news in a while, so that's kind of strange. They're looking at like replays of the fights. It's just opulence. It's just a full fucking corner of insane opulence. Which you can tell is actually causing a bit of a feeding frenzy amongst all the people who are betting, because they're seeing what they could have if they just got a mage. So Bryce Dallas Coward and Strong winner. What do? Do you just kind of take a seat to go check on Fartso? What's your deal?
Declan, is the objective to purchase a mage today?
I mean, I feel like that'd be useful for us on the scale of things, but our objective is Lady Ethereum. We need this fucking information. I don't know how to get it from her. Maybe I could find out where she goes after this shit from Fartso, because he's kind of easily guided to the direction one wishes. But if we're going to get a fucking wizard, we're going to need one that'll help us. Realistically, she's going to have wizards. So I guess if you want to go take a look at the wizards, try to figure out which one seems the most like Alyn, vaguely sociopathic, but completely disinterested in money. We need somebody who just wants their own power, or maybe the others might not bid so highly on, the underdog wizards is what we're looking for out of that bunch.
Yes. And in your observation of Lady Ethereum, were you able to glean any behavior we can take advantage of, or any patterns?
Oh yeah, she changed a fucking bet so illegally right at the end when she saw her robot was going down. And she knows that I know, because I kind of gave her a thumbs up because I could have stopped it, but I let it happen. So clearly self-interested. Also, she fucking just checked on Fartso. And people like that don't generally give a fuck about the little people, which is interesting. So
you two are bound by a secret then. Perhaps you can leverage that.
That is accurate. I don't know the best way to leverage it yet, but if it'll come into play, it'll come into play.
Very good. Perhaps you could use it to get her alone.
I do like that idea. I do like that idea indeed. But what do I do once I've got her alone? Because my plans usually involve then I shoot them. And I don't think that helps us here.
We will need to interrogate her before you shoot her.
Yes, that's the thing.
We need information from her. We need to know what Jeff Bee-Zos is up to.
All right, sounds like we need to win ourselves a wizard and then talk our way into talking with her after the wizard so we can sort things out. Then we interrogate her, possibly kill her and get the fuck out of here. Does that sound right?
Yes.
I love it. We have a plan. It doesn't involve me having to negotiate with anyone terribly much. Sold. Let's go figure out which of these fucking wizards we can get.
All right, so I'm going to need a Streetwise, please. There is some time to mix and mingle with the wizarding crew. That's the wizard bell rock. Don't like that. Sometimes the music cues don't work, folks. But yes, you can mix and mingle because basically they want everyone to get a sense of the wizard contract that they're buying. Also, given that most of these wizards are selling a contract to then just do a bunch of incredibly menial be a living battery work, you need to make sure you've got the right one who's going to be into that. If you're just going to like make them sit in a server room and be like, power these for me.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to need a Streetwise, please, to see who you.
From me, you're looking to get
Who's looking? Who's
I'm
trying
looking
to
at
determine which
mages.
mage? Okay, then yes, a Streetwise from you there, Honour System.
15 and Streetwise. Streetwise is wisdom or intelligence?
It is intelligence.
Intelligence, so just 15.
15? Okay. So a number of these wizards seem a little bit confused and kind of disinterested. Keep in mind, like, the majority of mages who were in the stack had been there for like a really long time. and had been like subjugated under the administrator's powers, amongst other things. And like you saw all the different tricks they had for kind of keeping them in line. So for a lot of them, they're kind of like people who've gotten out of prison and don't really know how to reintegrate into society because they're no longer on like a strict regime. And unfortunately, these agents have clearly taken advantage of that and are like guiding them to things. Granted, it's leading to like a good standard of living for the mages, but the mages also clearly, a lot of them don't seem to have any real sense of what's going on, or care. A lot of them seem anxious about getting into the job and just being able to like fall back into a routine. That said, not all of them are like that. And sure enough, you find one mage who is chain smoking. They are also wearing like blue with stars and moons on it robes, but they've got them like rolled up, and just like, again, kind of like chain smoking in a corner. Their agent is basically the elven equivalent of Gil from The Simpsons. So just like kind of like a hard luck balding elf who's wearing a suit that's one size too large, but seems unaware of it. It is from a fashion that like you recognize from the discount store that you had that gunfight in all those years ago. I guess it was years at this point.
All that time ago.
Time ago, yeah. He is very carefully smoking one cigarette while this mage continues to like chain smoke. And you can see he desperately wants to ask for one, but doesn't seem to know how. And he's got like literally a briefcase full of papers, literal papers, which is an odd sight in 2099.
Yeah.
And is talking to this mage. The mage is an orcish guy. He's got a number of piercings, and is just generally like looks a bit punk rock. He's kind of got a bit of that like almost like that Billy Idol like smirky scowl, like lopsided scowl thing going on, and just seems not over this whole thing, but does seem like an odd fit here, and probably stands out as the oddest mage.
Okay, I'm going to approach them and probably try to speak to the mage directly, just bypassing the agent altogether. Whether he lets me or not is up to him, but Honour System will say, hello, what is your name?
And he looks you up and down and like legitimately seems interested, almost taken aback, because you're a robot asking, which is something that legitimately doesn't happen very often. And he just says, my name's Shosa. Look, if you're looking for a battery, man, I can understand, but I'm not your guy. And then immediately the agent comes like stumbling across, and says, "Oh, well, hello there. Hey, it would seem that you're interested in talking to my client Shosa. Well, first you got to go through me. My name is Mr. Harold P. Tech, because I am good with technology. You see, like you sort of look like technology that is good. Has good eye and good taste in mages, and Shosa here he's one of the best, I tell you. Look, you see all these other mages, they don't seem to know what they're about, but Shosa here, he's got a real vibe, and at the same time he says vibe, Shosa's like attitude. He means attitude. He means that I'm kind of an asshole. At least that's what a lot of these guys are telling me. So
I understand. And thinking back to the criteria that Declan laid out of being like, okay, we need to find someone who's like kind of a psychopath, like Alyn. Honour System will ask, Shosa, have you been diagnosed with any kind of psychosis or sociopathic tendencies by a registered mental health professional?
I was kind of plugged into a big box where they used my abilities to run things, but incidentally, they did run a bunch of mental health checks on us. We never really saw the results, though. Also, that's a pretty forward question there, Mr. Robo Man. I don't feel great about answering that. It just takes a long drag of a cigarette. Look, if you're asking if I'll do a job for you, like, yeah, I will if it's something I want to do. If it's not something I want to do, I'm not going to do it. That's what being free is. And since I've been freed, that's kind of what I'm going for. And like Harold is giving him the like,
yeah,
shut up, man. Shut up, man.
But he's onto something that like Honour System is like latching onto. And so he kind of follows up by saying, are you saying that money could not persuade you to act a certain way or behave a certain way?
Well, I mean, yeah, I didn't get out of that hell to just do things I don't want to do. So yeah, money's great and all, but I kind of don't give a shit. Like I'm gonna do it. Meanwhile, like Mr. Tech is losing his mind. He's like, I think what my client's trying to say is he's a passionate man, and whatever
Thank
job
you. That will
give
be
him,
all. And Honour System like turns back to Declan. Like we've got our guy.
Oh, damn it. And like you just hear him be like, oh, Bridget's gonna leave me if I don't get a good contract here. And then
he thinks he's blown a sale, but Honour System's like, this is the one, we need this one.
100%. Yeah. So as Mr. Tech continues to mutter to himself, like as you are walking away, like in your wake, there are a bunch of agents, because the fact that you didn't just sign a contract, or like the fact that you didn't like try and like buy him under the table, like they're all like, oh, this guy's a high roller. He must be. He doesn't care. So a few people are there, but Honour System, you don't notice. It's not a thing you do.
No.
And sure enough, the auction's about to begin. So you have a brief second to confer with Declan before the auction gets underway.
So on not audibly, but through our channel, I believe is something we've established. I can't remember.
Yeah, I've got a helmet on, so I can hear you inside the helmet.
I say the Orcish mage Shosa, represented by one Harold P. Tech, is the mage you should be bidding on.
All right, deal. We'll get that mage, then we can try to manipulate Fartso into getting us Lady Ethereum. Otherwise, we just need to watch who these fucking bettors are, because odds are one of these bidders is here from Amazon, and we need to know which one it is. That's our backup plan if something goes wrong with Ethereum. So just make sure you get some fucking good head pictures of him so we can hunt him down later.
I'll begin my observation.
Cool. Declan, did you want to touch base with Fartso before or after the auction?
I mean, I could have before, but I feel like we're going to hit the same beats after. So why don't we just save it till then? Because I feel like Fartso could be the way to get to Lady Ethereum. So
yep, that's fine. So the auction begins, interestingly enough, Fartso doesn't actually get up to the mic. He's sitting there with his head in his hands, and Lady Ethereum kind of leans over and she's like, well, howdy, y'all. It's so nice to have y'all here. We're very excited to have this here MFT auction. You know, every MFT is unique, and you'll be the only one to hold a contract. And isn't that delightful? Now, granted, how we keep track of all of those is, well, somewhat environmentally unsound, some would say, but after all, there's a space laser blowing up big parts of the planet right now, so who gives a fucking shit? Now, Auctioneerio, would you go and do your work? And Fartso just doesn't acknowledge her, just kind of looks up with wide eyes and just says, the goddess. And Ethereum's like, he of course means the goddess of good bidding. Lady Goodbidson. And then she just stares at everyone, like daring them to challenge her on that. And in a world of no gods, why not? So everyone remains quiet, but you can hear some muttering. Like people are feeling this thing go off the rails. You hear at least two people be like, "This would never happen at one of Ilona's auctions. This is quite embarrassing." And someone else just mutters like, "I mean, Reverend Doge would never allow such hijinks in his house." But nevertheless, Lady Ethereum recovers by just full on giving like the death glare as she like floats up the stairs to the mic and says, "Well, you're all in luck. I suppose I will be the auctioneer here tonight for our little MFT auction. We have a number of fine mages whose contracts you can bid on, who would be more than willing to provide you with the same kind of quantum energy you saw at my very screens downstairs, and that you see behind me here today. Don't you miss your 3D images? Don't you miss your power and energy? I bet you do. Well, now's your chance, folks. Get yourself an MFT, and the world is yours. And she begins the auction. And sure enough, there's a parade of boring mages. Honour System, you're looking out for who's bidding. Can you roll me an investigation, please? Or perception. I'll give you either one.
We'll take perception because it's only just a little better than investigation. 8. So not a great roll, unfortunately.
So as the auction begins, you're still so vexed by organic expression and vibes. So an auction is such a weird place because everyone is like layering their true intent behind 8 layers of sorting other stuff out. So it's very difficult for you.
Nobody's saying what they mean, which is so and
you're seeing a lot of
difficult for Honour System to navigate.
And you're seeing a lot of backs of heads. So like the normal like tricks you might be able to pull in order to gather meaning. Like it's a bad communication event for you just in general so far.
And I think a little bit of celebrity has come along with that victory in the ring, and people are just like bothering him about random bullshit that he's trying to focus on the mission.
I love that. Yeah, I think you actually have people coming up and like trying to get you on contract.
Yeah.
Being like, we could turn you into an MFT or something. Now, granted, you're not a mage, but I mean, the principle's the same. I mean, who cares, right? We'll just turn you into an MFT. It's fine. And then, so your contract to people who want a cool robot fighter. And like, there's just, you get pitched this 6 or 7 times by 6 or 7 people, all with like little changes, but all of them kind of demanding the same.
Yeah. And because Amazon employees, as far as we know so far, don't have any kind of distinguishing look or any kind of MO, everyone gets an equal amount of attention to make sure that they're not Amazon employees. So that's where like the low perception comes in of like, yes, you have my full attention.
Right.
And then it takes like a full like 15-second pitch to be like, no, wait, this is garbage. And just like look to the next person.
Right. Okay. I love that. That's very silly. Okay. Amazing. So the first couple of rounds come and go. Declan, you're mostly just hanging tight, waiting for Shosa to come up. Generally speaking, you're seeing what I described earlier. A lot of these mages don't seem that engaged, that interested in the goings on. And this is the first taste you've really had of like the parade of misery that is the MFT market in 2099 now. Like, it's not as bad as the Conglomerata, but it's bad in a different way. That's like, the exploitation is so specific that you're just like, God damn it.
The same people are being exploited. They just get more out of it. Like, it's a weird, unhealthy balance.
And some of them seem really jazzed about it, but that's also leading to like a new ruling class, which also isn't great. So like, generally speaking, it's not a great scene for you, Declan. Finally, Mr. Harold P. Tech, which I should point out is with a K. He's really leaning in on bad branding. He comes up, and every manager and agent has been giving like a little pep, like a little like hype speech for their mage, and he gets up there and he just says, well, boy howdy, what a bunch of regular mages we've seen here today. I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between any of the ones we've just seen. They're all so similar that you say to one of them, you want ice cream cone? I bet they both say yes. I mean, how in the hell? How in the hell, I say? But this guy, my client Shosa, well, he is a showstopper. And you just see Shosa like crush the cigarette in his hand. It's still lit. There's just ember and ash and just like full on like head into fist, like he's probably burning himself. He's just so fucking embarrassed that he's in this situation. And Mr. Tech just says like, I mean, he'll do all sorts of jobs for you. Any jobs good for Shosa. He's just a mage of many hats. So pick him. And there is dead silence. in the room. Declan, are you going to wait to see if someone else bids, or are you going to make the first bid?
Declan will give it a moment. If somebody else bids, cool, he'll start this. Otherwise, he wants it to be so awkward that it will be a relief should he make the first bid.
Okay. From the back, someone does put in a low ball offer. I'm not going to get into like actual numbers because we don't need that nonsense. But it's almost like, you know, at a silent auction when it's like $5 to kick things off. It's that kind of bid.
Great. I think Declan would go higher than that, but still lower than what the usual kickoff is for one of these mages.
So another voice in the room. There's a person who comes in just above that, and you get into a brief kind of three-way bidding war, where the two people at either side of the room are kind of like putting in bids. They're not passionate at all. It's very, very mechanical, to a point where Declan, you're not sure, but it feels like the bad old days. Like this is proper board bureaucracy bidding, kind of the way one would go about trying to buy like a mass amount of like filing cabinets for a new office that's opening from an old office that closed. So there's two very dispassionate people bidding. Would you continue to bid amidst them, or would you wait to see how high it goes?
I think he would try to break this up a little bit, because if he knows from Honour System he's got like a little bit of a talk about this guy, he would just be like, wait just a second, we heard a speech from the big guy. Hey, wizard friend, is it true that you're willing to do any job that you've been given? Just any of them? Because he said that, and he said that wasn't true about the other wizards. But you're the guy who'll do whatever we say no matter what?
And he just like lights a cigarette and glowers as Harold P. Tech says, yeah, indeed he will. You know, he's one thing I know about Shosa, and I've known him for these many days.
No, you talk a lot. I don't need it from you. Wizard, what are you saying?
I'm authorized to speak on behalf of Mr. Shosa in all negotiations. Can you roll me a persuasion, an intimidation, or a bureaucracy check, Ryan? Depending on what you think, not based on, as always, not based on your best stat, but based on what you think.
Honestly, I think it's intimidation.
Bryce Dallas Coward would do.
Yeah, it's intimidation. He's a shirtless guy with robot parts with a helmet for a head who brought the murder robot.
That's true. These other two people are in like,
oh my god,
off the rack suits.
My stats are terrible. I got a nat 20.
Nice.
Yay!
Yeah, Tech looks from you to Strong Winner, who he just watched decimate the scariest thing he'd ever seen, and back to you. And finally, he just throws up his hands and says, "Oh, Bridget was right. I can't do this job. I thought I could make it big with MFTs. And it turns out maybe I'm just not cut out for it. I mean, sure, here's Shosa, I don't know." And Shosa, like, less awkwardly than you'd imagine, but a little bit like, again, like an athlete who's been like off of the mic and just kind of leans across. And he says, "Yeah, hi, I'm Shosa. I'm pretty good with magic, I think. I'm still, learning what I can do. But like," and he kind of squeezes his fist and then unrolls it, and his cigarette is back. It's kind of reformed out of the ash, and then he like flicks it around, points the unlit side to his tongue, lights it off of his tongue with like a burst of flame, and then takes out drag, and he goes, I'm just working on shit like that. I don't know. But no, I'm not going to do any job for money. I'm going to do a job that I want to do. So here's the thing. If you want to hire me, tell me what the job is, and maybe it'll be a great fit, maybe it won't. But no, I'm not one of these fucking drones. I mean, sorry, I'm not one of these friggin' can we swear in this? And like Tech is losing his mind. The other agents are like laughing, what I've dubbed the capitalist laugh, where they're like, like they're just so happy about this because this means that their clients are going to look even better. But you also see some nodding heads, unfortunately. Like, not everyone, like everyone has different needs for different mages, and I think you've already seen some of this, and like Bourbon Sherbert has certainly reported this from some of the mages in his circle. Like, some people kind of are thinking of the mages as like the cool bodyguard who knows martial arts in like movies with like an evil, like, I don't know, property developer, and then they've got like a big cool martial artist with them. Like they're thinking of the mage themselves as like a powerful tool in their arsenal. And unfortunately, Shosa does seem like the cool person cool, scary person to have over your shoulder. So suddenly there's some legitimate interest from the room. Some people are completely out because they just want a battery, but the people who don't want a battery are now more excited.
Oops.
He'll keep bidding. He'll keep bidding. He's in. He doesn't give a fuck about this money. None of this money's fucking real. This is just a bunch of fucking, like, honest. Listen, let's be honest. I don't give a shit if I carry any of these fucking fake things out of here. Because at the end of the day, I got a gun. And if somebody else don't have a gun, and it doesn't matter how much fucking money they have. It's all bullshit.
They might have mages.
Yeah, well, you know what? The mages die from a hole in the head just like everybody else.
That is a strong theory.
Conveniently leaving your experience with Grace and Typhus off the map.
He died a second time. Fuck him.
So you notice that the two boring people drop off. Honor System, I'm going to let you roll again at disadvantage to see if you can glean anything from that.
That's a total of 12 for perception.
Man, there's a lot of people
but
bidding and yelling, but at least you're starting to get a sense of like who to actually pay attention to, which is good. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. So, Declan, the number's getting up there. You're starting to reach the edge of your betting because you're betting now against people who aren't purely using money they won downstairs. These are the people who arrived with deep pockets. Would you try and swing this in your favor, or are you just going to let it play out?
He'd try to. I mean, he doesn't really have a clear way to swing this in his favor. What he would do is when he hits the point where his cash runs out, he'd make a play then.
Okay.
Which is he'd like to bid. I'll bid what I've got here in chips, and I will bid the full cash earnings of my champion's next fight in the arena downstairs. And as we know, those fights are tremendously profitable. And as he says that, he's just going to look over at Lady Ethereum as a, like, fucking lady, we both made a bunch of money off of this robot.
She gives you a glacial stare, but you catch just the faintest twitch of her lip. The bidding continues. Unfortunately, this is so public. There's not a whole lot she can do. And you are rapidly outbid. Like, bids are just coming in big. And finally, between the remaining bidders, the number is astronomical. It's an absurd number. The kind of number that could only exist in a world where the global economy collapsed and the credit system's kind of broken. So a couple people did really well and most people are completely fucked. And she darts a glance at you. It's vaguely apologetic. But she says, well, as tempting as the winnings of our friend Strong Winner over here, I mean, it's in his name, I'm afraid we must abide by the rules of auction, and that would mean that the highest bidder takes the contract. And Shosa from the corner, she's like, yeah, no. She goes, I'm sorry? He's like, yeah, no, it doesn't. I'm going with that guy. And she kind of like looks at him, looks at you, realizes this is a good out for her, and turns to Big Money over in the corner and says, oh, well, I'm sorry, but I mean, you heard the MFT. He's made his decision, and as you know, we are not slavers. We are merely employment auctioneers with excellent agents who occasionally skim a little off the top. So I'm afraid that means that Mr. Shosa's contract goes to the brilliant tactician, Mr. Bryce Dallas Coward, and of course his handsome robotic friend, Strong Winner. And there's some grumbling, but there's still a lot of mages, so like, fine. And you literally hear one of the Big Money people be like, I guess I could just put some piercings on one of these other idiots. And you see like scared wizards being like, so the auction carries on, and eventually all the contracts are won. You're unfortunately not really able to pick up much, having failed those two rolls, I'm afraid. There's not much you can pull from that. The auction is complete. Lady Ethereum bids everyone good night. So she's going to retire to her offices to submit all the appropriate paperwork to the blockchain to make sure that all the MFTs are tracked properly. And Shosa is like dealing with Harold, who is like dealing with a bunch of paperwork. So Declan, you have a few moments if you do want to go talk to Farzo.
Yeah. Well, Declan would like signal Strong Winner, aka Honour System, to kind of join him going over to talk to Farzo. Like, hey, Farzo, we got ourselves our mage, which is what we needed. But I was hoping I could have a minute to speak with Lady Ethereum because, you know, we need to book in a few more fights for my boy over here to make us all a whole ton of money.
And he's massaging like the bumps on his head, and he just says, "There is no Farzo. Farthole Farch. I serve a different lady now, yes? Farzo serve different lady. Bald lady with hammers comes to Farzo in his mind. Tell Farzo to spread word. So Farzo do. You want to talk to old lady?"
Declan, this goblin is concussed.
Farthole's head does hurt.
All right, Farthole, I got two questions for you. One, I might want to talk to that lady, but I want to ask you a different question first. If we were to say, take half of this chip pile over here, and we were to use this to, I don't know, buy some sort of building you could maybe turn into a church to your magical whatever, are you able to tell us which one of these people are buying for Amazon and tell me what else we need to know about Lady Ethereum's operation?
You help build new church, need new temple for Moonhammer.
Okay, if you'll tell me about Amazon, we'll build you a fucking church for Moonhammer.
Yes, tell. That one.
All right, we got to get fucking pictures of that.
Yeah. Honour System turns and is on them.
Sure, like you're doing the thing, and he's just like, no need picture. Go talk. Limo's parked upstairs. Here. Farthole show you. Farthole very excited about opening temple. Come.
Okay, yeah, let's do this.
And then he reaches a hand up and touches it to his bruises, and there's a foul smell as they sink back into his forehead, and he looks up, looking much happier, and looks at his hand and says, "Oh, goddess, more quickly! Come!" And he'll start leading you out the back. On your way, though, Lady Ethereum stops you. And she says, "Well, I'm sorry. I do apologize about that whole kerfuffle back there. I hope our understanding remains intact. I see that Fartsy here's like, Farthole?" She's like, "Farthole, I see he's found another one. Farthole here seems to be much abused by the crowd downstairs, and you'll understand I merely sent him on the task in order to not lose my shirt. Surely a man without a shirt like yourself can understand the necessity of such things."
And we've all got to do what we've all got to do. I feel like, the MFT game feels like it might have a bit of a shallow bottom on it once all these mages get out. So, what's your plan for what's next?
Well, my dear, that's why I'm trying to earn so much money now. Everyone knows the MFT market's a bubble that's going to burst. And, darling, I just intend to float as high as I can before that happens and grab onto some kind of chandelier chain. So, the more credits I can obtain now while the entire economy is in the downfall, well, let's just say when everything gets back on its feet, I intend to be on top of the shoulders of the last one up.
Declan would like to just take a look to the left and to the right and just see, there's an office behind her. Is there anybody else within eyesight?
You are literally, no one's allowed back here. This is well past security, no.
All right, so what you're saying is we can just ride it all the way to the top on the backs of these suckers, and in the end, they get nothing, and we get to make a fortune?
Darling, it's a decentralized system run by a bunch of rebels who tried to overthrow the government. How secure do you think it's going to be in the long run? We just got to hold tight until everything gets back to the good old days, and, if a few of our fortunes rise, well... And she, runs a finger down Honour System's chest. She's like, what's to say some of us can't enjoy our spot at the top, We are strong winners, after all, aren't we?
That is so accurate. And he's like, that is so accurate. And then he just says into his helmet, is this one yours or mine? To Honour System.
Honour System will say, I've had enough for today.
And then it's just like vibro knife up, just shank all the way back into a room. Because the nice thing is with his dirty fighting, if he could hit with the first one, she's just stunned until her turn.
Go ahead and roll to hit the unarmed aristocrat.
Unarmed and distractedly horny aristocrat.
That
Hey, she just won a bunch of money at gambling. If that doesn't make you horny, what will?
That is a 12.
12, yeah, that'll hit. She's not wearing armor. She's wearing a real fancy dress.
All right, so then he stabs her to death, locks her in an office, and they continue onwards to Fart Hall.
Hey.
Yeah.
It turns out there is a weakness to Ethereum. She goes down and Fart Hole just leans in, hands on his head, and tears just start rolling down his cheeks. And he runs over to her and he looks back to you and he says, You sent to goddess! Such good! And then he just like farts near her and says, Say hello to goddess!
You know what? 1 second, I swear I could follow this religion. And the next one, it seems like the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
Oh, well, you see, goddess said she runs or ran hell. Oh, maybe said ran hell. Oh well. And then he's off. He's still concussed. Like his bruises are gone, but like he got stepped on by a lot of people.
Honour System is not making the connection that he's got magic or anything like that. So he's just watching a man push his brain hemorrhages back in and shit his pants, apparently. So Honour System is just like...
Have you ever heard a more accurate description of the Moonhammer religion? I have.
Yeah.
All right, let's follow the farting brain man to the limousine.
So he leads you up the stairs, and sure enough, there are some like air limos, because of course they have quantum power because they have mages who are hanging out with them. And you see the two people who are bidding across from you, as well as a couple others, just kind of shaking hands with each other, and their mages are getting on board. They're shaking hands with the agents. It's really just kind of a closing deal. They trust that Lady Ethereum will file all the paperwork on their behalf. They don't really need to worry about this. Also, like, they are clearly very old hand at MFT auctions now, so they're like, whatever. The mages are getting in at like a big cargo van. A couple of them are being brought into limos, but generally speaking, most of them are getting in the cargo van. And they all turn and see you, and one of them just says, hello there, I'm sorry, we didn't buy either of your contracts, I don't think. So...
we got brought up here, sent by Lady Ethereum and Farthole here. And I'll just point to Farthole, who's leading them where they're supposed to go.
Disgusting name. And he's like, me no.
So from what we understand, Tom, is this an Amazon person?
Yes. All four of these people are Amazon.
If they're looking at us, Honour System is capturing their likenesses to save for later.
Do they have guns, Tom?
Yes, there are. Well, they don't, but there are definitely armed escorts with the thing. And you recognize them as Synergy Incorporated mercenaries. So former regulators. Some of them actually still have the Amazon like patches on their armor. It's been like painted over, but like clearly they did work for the corporate. Because if you remember, the regulators are made up of like people sent by all of the different corporations, and then they mixed all the units to make sure no one had precedence, but oftentimes people would quietly swap back out. So these are clearly like Amazon loyals who are guarding the limos, but none of them are like the executives aren't wearing masks or anything, so like very easy to grab photos of all of them. They're all extraordinarily generic. That's part of their job, but the buyers are all very, very clear to Honour System your coding. Exactly the kind of thing Tony could work with.
So we've got exactly what we need then, theoretically, to be able to track these guys down afterwards.
Yep.
Great. We were sent up here because, listen, we don't have a ton of money now, but I've got a winner here, and we get it fixed up and back into the arena. I was wondering if I could rent your mages, just for like a couple of hours a week or something to power things up. I feel like we could make a deal.
And they all kind of smirk at each other in that like incredibly douchey, like, we showed up at a place without having booked a table, but we're going to get a table and someone's going to have to leave way. And they just say, I'm pretty sure these mages will be up to something more grandiose by then. So good luck with your little fisticuffs. And then they get in the limo, and a couple of the synergy guys are definitely giving you the look. They definitely kind of picked up on like more is going on here, but not their job. So they pile in last. One of them definitely like covering the exit for the rest of them, and then they get in and take off. You see all the limos fly in different directions, but by this point, Honour System, you have got all of the information you'll need to be able to track these assholes.
Great. Can I just also add that just the way they talked about like what these mages will be up to, Honour System would also want to capture their likenesses as well, just in case.
Yeah. I think we can safely say you like record the whole thing in like as given it like the high quality of gear you've got in your head, like it's practically one of those like Arkham, like Batman Arkham like recreation things where you can just fully 3D recreate these sequences. In case you need to like make digital copies of them or anything else, you've got that tech now.
Okay, great.
All right, then let's take the little farting turd, go collect our fucking mage, hunt these bastards down, and then bring an end to Geffcinda fucking Bee-Zos.
I'm looking forward to it.
And with that, you gather your allies and go to begin to make the preparations for the disastrous last assault that Alyn arrives into merely days from now.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is Carbon 2185, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, Jahzzar, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alyn, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, Shulzari, Christian Mendez, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.